Okay, so our DHCP failover and split scope. Let's get going with that. Is that okay, or is that okay? Is that okay, or this one's okay?
Yeah.
Or this one? Okay, this one. Oh, I love doing that. Okay, just kidding. Yeah.
Yes,
So
I leave the basic.
okay, it is better. Okay, that's cool. So, oh, then I should not get in front of the whole thing. Okay. So, now, the DHCP failover and split scope. How do we do that, and what is it? So failover, we already understand that this is, if you have active and standby, and also in a load balancing configuration, you can use DHCP servers. So there's that trick to it that we're wondering, if there are two DHCP servers, how can we avoid having conflict, or is there a downtime longer if we lose one DHCP server and the other one really works right away then and there, or does it take time? So for that, I'm just gonna quickly. Okay. Oh, it's done. Okay, that's good. So I just wanted to have enough machines here, and so we have all three machines. Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. So all we need, we don't need new machines, because DHCP can work on any type of machine. So either it's a domain controller, maybe both are domain controllers, it's gonna work fine, right? So that's why I'm just going to take a snapshot of my 7410 class machines, because I'm about to run them. So
How many sessions are there for these course?
This week, next week, and the week after. Okay. Hopefully, or the week after, if the topics are not covered. But I'm just gonna try to do that within this these three. Okay, so so it's in September, and resuming now. So about to do DHCP lab. Taking snapshot and power on. So guys, let's just start that. So we need DHCP installed on domain controller as well as member server, right? Domain controller as well as member server. So, but on the second server, DHCP, we are not supposed to configure it. We're gonna just configure DHCP on anyone. So be with me, because there are many customized settings. So try not to configure anything different. Otherwise, the failover and split scope both might not work. So let's just configure both servers together. So about to install DHCP for 7412. Okay, so ready for this. Okay, so I have created a clone from the, that Windows 8, and hopefully it will be ready by the time we are starting the lab, or we reach that third client. So okay, the first client is there, and we're gonna just talk about theory as well, but let's be careful about the DHCP configuration. I am logging into my first server, and then also on the other server. Let's go to the drawing board and try to create this diagram there. Wow, serious. So for the drawing board, we need to understand that server 1 is here, right? And server 2 and client 01. Suppose it's the third server, which it doesn't matter. So we're gonna have DHCP here, and we're gonna have DHCP here as well, but we're going to be configuring our split scope. So this will be our split scope. First we're going to configure that. We're going to try to know what is that, and then we're going to go for failover clustering as well. So failover clustering, and we're going to configure both these things from server 1, where first we are configuring first we are just going for SplitScope, then we're going to go for failover cluster. So let's just configure first SplitScope and try to see also what is it. So for that, everyone logged into server 1. Do we have, let's confirm if we have basic DHCP installed on server 1. Do we all have basic DHCP installed on server 1?
For me, it's not installed.
Okay, also I don't have it, so we're gonna just install that. So on server 1, let's go for exactly add roles and features, everyone, right? And we go for next until we reach the roles. Then we go for DHCP server. Add features is there, right? Let me know if I'm going faster. Next, nothing on features. Next, and then restart, yes, and install, right? So this is going on in the first one. Let's go for the second one and just install the DHCP as well. On second one, we are not configuring DHCP at all, right? But we need to have the DHCP role on the second server as well. So going to dashboard and going to add roles and features, of course this exact same thing on the second server. Next, and DHCP, the pop-up, add features, next, and restart the services, yes, install. Okay, once this is okay, feature installation going on the second one as well. So is it installed for both? Okay, on yeah, so second one we're just going to install the role, we're not going to configure it. On the first one we're going to install and configure, right? So on the second one I'm just yeah, it's about to install. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for the first one and it is done, right? But first one, there is that blue line, everyone seeing? Complete DHCP configuration on the first one. We have to click that blue line, complete DHCP configuration, right? So everyone sees just like the board. Okay, and about so you click the close button.
The
First one.
Already has DHCP.
Oh, which is okay then, and configured also is also okay. Second one only install and we don't do anything else other than yeah this one as well on the second one. So guys, first one complete DHCP configuration, we're gonna click that, and the second one also complete DHCP configuration exactly the same way. We're gonna click that, so then it's gonna be actually installed basically on the second one, right? But we're not gonna configure further stuff. So on first one I'm just going for complete DHCP configuration and commit. This window should be there. Make sure that you have that window where the authorization is showing, and you should see this on both servers. If you don't see this on both servers, you won't be able to configure the whole thing. So everyone saw that on both servers, right?
Excuse me.
Yep.
After complete configuration, user alternate credential will go.
No, nothing there. Next finish. Yeah, exactly. Commit and close, right? So is this the same you've done on the second one as well, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm also there on second one. I haven't also done that, so it is also showing me complete DHCP configuration. So when we click that, it creates two security groups and authorizes also the DHCP server. So click commit and it should be showing done. Oh, okay, close. Okay, so on the first server, wrote it done, everyone? On the second server, right? So Matthew, done? Okay, Jonathan? Oh, sorry, Renfell? Apart from that task you're doing, is this also done? Hey, you're still doing that, right?
Huh?
You're doing multitasking, hyper threading, right?
No, but I already have DHCP on the other.
Other one as well.
Yeah.
Second one as well.
Okay. Don't want to forget that.
Okay. No, it has to be the same domain, right? Having two DHCP, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you already had on the second one as well? Wow. Okay.
Oh, you mean like two
On-
servers?
Two servers, yeah. On the first one, you already have it.
Yeah.
The second one, or you want to sit back and enjoy the show today, or do that task and understand this. If you're on that mode, that's also okay, but you have to repeat that later, right? But it's a very important topic. So you can do both simultaneously if you can, otherwise. Okay, so let's carry on, and complete DHCP configuration is done on the first one. Actually, maybe I did not do that. Next, commit. Oh yeah, oh, it's already authorized, already present in the directory service. Okay, so close and close this window. Now let's just go and check out what is SplitScope. So if I go to the diagram here, let's understand first what is SplitScope, and then we go ahead and implement that too. So if this is the first server, now let's just go for another diagram where I'm just gonna grab that server here, actually these two servers. Oh, that's page 2. So once we have these servers, so what happens is that we're gonna create a scope here, and you know, we already have that scope actually, right? But so this scope is like you know, 192. There has to be a range, right? So what we normally have created is from 51 up to 100, right? The scope range, right? So when we go there up to 192.168.200.100, right? So this was our scope range. Now this scope is configured, but it should be highly available, right? So what happens is that if this server goes down, then this was only installed on this server, so it's going to be not available, right? But what about if you make this scope or half of this scope available on the second server as well, right? So how can this be possible? So what SplitScope does is that it plays this 80-20 rule here. Now what is 80-20 rule? Oops. 80/20 rule. So what that means is 80% of the IP addresses will go to this server, and 20% of the IP addresses will remain with this server. Now what's the logic about that? If this server goes down, then this server will start distributing its 20% of the IP addresses, right? And it is giving you time to get this first server up and running as soon as possible. It's buying you time now, right? So before the 20% runs out of IP addresses, you must have recovered this server already. First thing is that 80% of the IP addresses in this range, 51 up to 100 suppose, are given to this server, 20% are given to this server. Is there any other reason that you think of? That why are we giving 80% of the IP addresses to this? Why not 50% here and 50% here? And these servers are in active passive configuration. Active and passive, right? So this means active passive, right? So this one is active and this one is passive. We can give them this server 50% and this server 50% as well, but administrators go for 80-20. Why? Anyone knows that? Any reason you can see right now? Like why not give the passive one 80% of the IP addresses from the range, and why not give active one 20% of the IP addresses?
Well, if you have 50% of the other side, then that means you won't be able to use 50% of the range. So when
If it is 50-50, right?
yeah, it's 50. So you're not utilizing the whole thing.
Yes. So if 50% of the range of IP addresses are given to this server and 50% are given to this server, that passive server is just sitting there doing nothing, right? Passive server. It's not distributing. It's waiting for the first server to go down, crash. If it does not crash for years and years, if you have given 50-50 of this range, total range, so this means that rest of the 50% are not being used and they are just sitting there doing nothing, right? But if you give 80% of the IP addresses here and 20% are sitting and doing nothing, it's still a good idea that you have larger chunk of IP addresses available that are being used right now. So the very smaller chunk is actually sitting here doing nothing, right? Sitting there doing nothing, right? So if this and also this is active passive, right? And we can also have active active. We're going to check both of these with our results, right? So we can have active active as well configuration, and in that configuration, of course, it's going to be playing the role of what is this, LB. It's gonna play the role of LB. Yes, load balancing, right? So load balancing if we make it active active. But then the question is, will there be an IP conflict? If they are both actively distributing IP addresses, will there be a IP conflict? The same IP is given by both servers. Is that possible?
You mean they distribute to
Both of them are distributing
the
now.
machine same IP address?
Yeah, it could be. One machine has IP address, second machine also given the same IP address by another second DHCP server. Is that even possible?
It depends. We can scope it in a different range, maybe.
So how do we avoid an IP conflict when we have two DHCP servers which are active? Both are active.
Configuring,
Huh?
just configuring.
Yes. How? Suppose what exactly would you want to configure that will avoid at once separate,
Separate the IP addresses, so this
range. Yeah.
For this DHCP.
Exactly. So we can just separate the range, whatever the range, from 51 to 61 here, and from 62 to 100, suppose, is there. So of course, when the IP address ranges are different, and both are, whoever receives the request first is giving the IP address, then they will be able to avoid that IP conflict. This is very easy thing. But do we understand that in order to make a scope highly available, we can do split scope and divide the scope on two servers, right? So that's the main thing that the split scope achieves. That we are dividing the scope into two, or half of the scope is there, half of the scope is there, and then if one DHCP server goes down, still some of the IP addresses are on the second server, right? Let's go back to the DHCP failover, or actually split scope slide here. So split scope configuration, widely known as 80-20 configuration, is typically considered as high availability deployment scenario for the DHCP server. It involves configuring scopes with the same subnet address and subnet mask, and configuration on two distinct DHCP servers or different DHCP servers. That's what we're doing, right? The two scopes have complementary exclusion ranges, and therefore will not serve the same address to different clients, right? So that's the main thing. They will not serve the same address. Okay, so let's get going. The ratio of address ranges across the servers is denoted as primary server to lease 80% of the addresses in the scope, and the secondary server to lease out 20% of the addresses. That's what we're planning, right? Splitting a scope between servers in this way, which is commonly referred to as 80-20 rule, often relies on the proximity of the DHCP servers to the clients it serves. So we have to have the DHCP servers within the same environment, not across the WAN, right? Or not across, in complex environments. Suppose there are 10 floors and the DHCP server is on top floor, or the main thing is the clients should be easily reaching both DHCP servers. To avoid address range exhaustion on the secondary 20% address range server, it can be configured to send out the DHCP offer with a small delay as well. So suppose your first server is down, your second server is still giving IP addresses, and it is running out of IP addresses now, and it's screaming, hey, are you up or what? I'm running out of IP addresses. So you could actually delay its response for those clients. The clients are like, hey, I need IP address, I need IP address, I need IP address. So you can delay the response. Okay, I'll give you. Wait, clients. Whoa, wait some more. So you could just do this thing, right? So it should not exhaust or finish as soon as possible, right? So 20% also needs some time to keep up the show until you get the first server up and running, right? Now let's just go for that split scope configuration and try to see how can we configure that and how can we test it out, right? So in my case, the client is nearly ready, and I'm just gonna give those IP addresses. Then it's gonna tell me that it's configuring millions of applications for me. Okay, so finalizing your setting, blah blah blah. Okay, on first server. Now let's just quickly configure it. So for those it's configured, you don't have to configure that, and for those it's not, so you and I will be configuring that, right? So tools, let's go to tools on the server 1 and go for DHCP, and then make sure first of all they are both green. IPv4 is showing green, right? Here you go. So IPv4 should be showing green. Second thing is right click the IPv4 like this and new scope, right? So new scope, and then we go for next, and then yeah, the first or the company scope, yeah, company scope. Next, this is what we already did, right? So and the IP address 192.168.200.51 up to 192.168.200.100, which we gave before as well. So once this is given from 51 up to 100, right? Next, no exclusion range. Next, least duration is the default. Next, yes, I want to configure these options now, so only gateway is what we need to configure. So our gateway is 192.168.200.50. Click add. Next, and this is our DNS. Next, if you need any help, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going faster a little because this is okay. Faster. Done. Okay. So finito. Right. So it's IPv4 is configured here. Now we can actually add the second server in the console of the first server, and then we go for split scope configuration, right? So how do we add the second server? We can just go to top DHCP option like this and add server. What are we doing? So if the DHCP is already installed as a role, it will get added there, right? So everyone there, right click DHCP, server 01. So server 02 we're not gonna configure anything until later. So DHCP add server, everyone there, and then we go for, we need to look for that server, right? So click browse here, browse, and where's that server? Server 02, check name. Okay, that's not good. Is it added?
It
Yeah.
shows in the bottom.
Yeah.
It-
Right side.
Exactly, that's how it should be.
Right.
You're right.
And you just pick that one.
Yep. Server 2. And pretend you're not watching this. Seriously, net plus domain.local. Ah, serious. Hey, also, I don't. Resuming now. Okay, guys. Hey, do you see this? The red? on the other ones?
Mhm.
Server 2 is showing to everyone, right? Server 2 like this, right? So now it should look like this, but this should be green, right?
It's green.
Oh, is this green? That's not fair. Okay, is it green for you as well, Jonathan? And Renfro? If you're doing that, is this green for you? Just
Good question. Is server 2 set up as DHCP?
so yeah, you just have to download. I mean, like add the role and not configure it, right? So now it was not authorized, so I authorized it, so it's okay now. Okay guys, so let's just configure the split scope here. Now how do we configure split scope? Once we have this view in front of us, IPv4 is showing here, IPv4 is showing here, so scope is only configured on server 1 and it is not configured on server 2. It looks like this. So let's just right click the scope here and go to advanced, and this is the split scope option that we can see now, right? So everyone sees that, including Matthew? Oh, okay.
For you are in server 02 or what?
So now we're gonna work on server 1, right?
Server 1.
And your view looks like this, Matthew. Server 1 is there and server 2 is there, right?
Yeah, that's the same, but my advanced option is grayed out.
Advanced option is grayed out. So yeah, double click the scope and then right click.
Ah,
Okay, so advanced split scope, let's just click that. Split scope, now this screen comes here. Configuring DHCP split scope increases fault tolerance and balances server loads. Okay, so next. And then now it's asking who's your partner. So additional DHCP server, right? So we again go to add server here. And then now server 2 is showing there, right? So click this authorized DHCP server and click server 2 like this. And press OK. Is it working for everyone? Right? Okay. And whenever Renfro will do that, it's working for you too, right? Oh, you're doing that. That's good, man.
So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's working. Okay. It's working for you, right? That's cool.
so can we go back behind?
Sure.
What do we do?
So this is the right click and double click scope, then right click and DHCP. Are you on this screen? Okay, so I'll cancel out. Are you on this screen? Double click that scope, right? Then right click like this, and yep, you're there. Okay, when you click that, are you able to click that, right? You should see this screen, welcome one, and then it's not coming, right? Renfro?
Server 2 is not coming. Even if I already added a node.
Oh, you did?
Do I still
Oh,
have
okay.
Configure it.
Oh, you have to do this, Renfro. See this? Add server.
Yeah.
Right click on the top, add server, and is it adding?
Yeah.
It's already added.
It's already added.
Okay, so it shows like this here, right? Yeah. Hey, you got 911. Catch up, especially the tomato one. Oh, it's always tomato. So, okay, so catch up and catch up. So right click, advanced, split scope. You get 911 beside you. Don't worry about that. Split scope, and then we go for this. But yeah, you have to. I think you're not able to add the second server like this, right? So oh,
Not added yet.
it's not. He's not seeing it. If you don't see it here, then still try to add it from here. So it's okay. It's not compulsory that it's already should be showing there. That's not compulsory, right? So click browse there. This is to do with your DNS settings. So you can check it out. So I'm just putting the server 02 and check name, right? Maybe you were doing the other lab and you're using the same lab, right? For this one as well, which you're doing the Hyper-V. You're using that lab for this one?
No,
It's a separate set of servers, right? Okay. So you should be able to just add that. Even if you don't see it here, that it's not compulsory. You just have to be able to add this server. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, I was able to add it, but
Okay, it's
after
okay.
I hit OK, and
Mhm.
then it looks like it's not authorized or it's not
Oh, if it's not authorized, that's another thing that I was also facing.
On the server too.
Yeah, so on server 2, if you go there, you just have to authorize it, right? Are you on server 2? You see this? When you right click server 2, it should be saying unauthorized. This means it is authorized. If it say authorized, then click it on server 2. So you have to authorize it first. You done? You were able to find the authorize?
Yeah, I tried that, but it says specified servers are already present in the directory service.
Oh, then it is authorized already. So, and server 2 on the first server showing green here in the first
But
server.
it's okay.
Oh, okay. You're gonna catch up, right? No? That tasty ketchup, right? The tomato ketchup, right? Okay. So next, when we go ahead,
Or last question. This
Yes, sir.
server
Mhm.
two, I don't need to configure in this scope, right?
on the second server, no, the previous scope is good, unless there's a issue with that. The scope should be good, right? So, okay, guys. So we are seeing this setting, right? That's 80/20 already configured here, right? So this is the main setting for split scope, and we can just slide this like this, and both servers now get 50/50 if we slide it right in the middle, or the second server could get the 20% and the first server could get the 80%, right?
By
Ac-
default, it's 18.
And by default, it's the first one is 80 and the second one is 20%, right? So 80/20 rule. And 50/50, why we are not doing, we should just know that why we're not doing that. Why? Oh, because we don't want the other server to be just sitting there with a lot of big chunk of
But
IP
what is it
addresses.
like?
If it is active, then we can slide it back to 50%, right? If it is active passive, then we go for 80/20 rule, right? So we need to know this what kind of configuration we are going for. And this is host DHCP server is our first server, and when you see below, this is the exclusion range that is showing, right, for this server. And this is the second server, added DHCP server, so the exclusion range for that server is showing here, right? So this is very easy, and but when we check out, then we're gonna know that how it was. So next, now what is the delay in DHCP offer? So if once first server goes down, the second server, how long do you want the second server to take before it considers, oh yes, now I'm sure the first one is down, and now I will start giving IP addresses to all the clients? How long? Because what it's not compulsory that as soon as the second server discovers, oh, the first server is not there, at once it should start giving IP addresses. Maybe the second server has just a hiccup, right? It at once comes back and it says, oh, you've already started giving IP addresses. I was just there for away for 1 millisecond and you've started already. So we can just put here 500 millisecond. What's a millisecond?
Millisecond.
So it's
Divide 1 second, 1,000 part.
is it 1,000 parts?
And it's a milli.
Yeah, milli. And there's a microsecond as well.
Micro, I think it's milli.
Okay, million. So this means this is like nearly hmm? 0.5 seconds. So half of that, right? If we have 500, right? So this means this much time you want the second server to wait until it is sure that the first distributor really is gone and I should start distributing the IP addresses, right? Normally there is some time given, because if there's some cable was moved just slightly, that doesn't mean that okay, it was just away for 1 second and you're just, or half a second, or certain millisecond, that second server should just consider, oh, it's gone, let me just start. So let the second server wait until it is sure that the first server is not coming back. and that's also in 1 second, half second is good enough time, right? So so you are delaying the second server to come into action, right?
Is that the microseconds? Is that
It
500 seconds?
No, that's just on TechNet and the Microsoft forums they were recommending, but they also said no, it's not compulsory. It's up to your evolution of whenever it went down, or you can test it and then try it. So do your own testing, but we are going for first they were saying 100 seconds, 100 milliseconds. Then they said okay, normally we do 500, but test your own environment and check it out. Okay, next. And finish. So it should all show successful like this, right? So is it showing successful, everyone? Yes, including Matthew. Oh, you already done that, man. Okay, how do we check now? So first of all, now if we go to the second server, we're not gonna configure manually everything. We're not going to do that. But if we go to the second server, do we see the rest of the 20% of the scope already synchronized here? And I think, yeah, we never touched the second server, right? Just for configuration, but there is a scope already available here, right? So it has distributed the half of the scope to the second server. That's what I wanted to show you, that it is there now. But let's not configure anything on the second server, right? Let's go back to the first server. Now when you expand the second server on the first server, okay, what am I talking about? So second server inside this console, and refresh the second server console. Now it's showing scope like this, right? So now you can see that second server is disabled, the scope is disabled, so it's on active passive configuration, right? Again, one more thing, on the first server if you click address pool, on the second server if you click expand the scope and address pool as well. Now if you go back to the first server address pool, you can see the exclusion range, the second line, as from the 51 to 100, 91 up to 100 is excluded for the first server, for DHCP server, right? If you see the address pool of the second server, the exclusion range is different now. From 51 up to 90 is excluded for the second server. This means that 20% is given to the second server and 80% is given to the first server, right? The exclusion range tells us that only 10 IP addresses have been taken away here, all the 40 IP addresses have been taken away. Okay, how do we check it out? First of all, do we have the third server up? Okay, so if you are logged into the third server, in my case it's the Windows 8 client. If we go to the command prompt now in Windows 2012 or 8 client and go for ipconfig, what IP are we getting?
003.
It should be 51 actually. Sorry. Yep.
003.
Server 03 exactly. Yeah. So is everyone getting 51? Right, am I on VMnet 8? Serious. Okay, are we all getting 51? No? Jonathan? No?
I'm just changing to DHCP.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, so let's make sure we have,
Server.
it's on static, right?
Yeah.
Oh. So if it's on static, let's just change the static IP address and IPv6 unchecked, double click v4. Yep, we're good on
Got
that.
51.
You got 51, okay. So also you got 51, Matthew? Okay, let's check it out. Yep,
Yeah.
I got 51 as well. Okay, you got 51. Cool. Let's quickly okay guys, first thing, it's not an automatic process that it's going to failover in case the first server goes down. Let's check it out, right? So right click the first server, on the first server, right click power and shutdown guest, right? We are getting an IP address of 51, we have it, right? So now we're going to crash the first server. So shutdown guest on first one, right? Everyone there? So let's shut down guest on server 1. Okay, it's shut down.
How we can stay in forest without Active Directory?
No, this is just for DHCP, split scope. But definitely we should not shut down the actual forest. But we're just trying to check if IP address from the second DHCP server can be received or not. Can it get activated or not, right? So, but definitely in a production environment, we would have separate DHCP servers, split scopes on member servers. So the scope, if I shut down the first server and go to the second server, the scope did not get activated. Or let's go right click IPv4 and refresh it. Maybe it got activated automatically, right? After detecting, oh, the first server is gone. Refresh, nothing. Refresh and refresh. It ain't activating itself. So this is where if at night you get this, the administrator, you have to just log in remotely to your DHCP server and click that. Do you see that green arrow up there on the second server? So you click the scope and you see on top a green arrow which is saying activate, right? So when you click, do you see that, Jonathan, as well? Activate, so second server, scope, when you click and activate, right? So click that and refresh. Now it should be green. Once it is green, at once we can run to our third server. Once it is green, is it green, right? So let's go run to our third server and put here ipconfig/release on the third server in the command prompt. ipconfig /release, release my current IP, right? And then ipconfig/renew /renew, right? So if we enter that, now it's going to search for a local DHCP server. It should be getting an IP address of, I guess, 91 from the second scope if it is in communication with that. So renew takes, and 91 exactly. So the second scope is working now. You get the 91? Oh, it's, okay. Anyone else? 91? Because or whatever is the starting IP address of the second scope, right? You got 91 as well? Okay. And Renfro also got 91. Yes. Okay. So okay. So now this means that second scope works, but you had to activate. We had to activate ourselves, right? What kind of high availability is that? But yes, this is something we need to understand, that it is manual activation for split scope, right? This means that's what they're paying us for, right? Although we can automate that, but split scope in this we have to activate that ourselves. We have to intervene and do the manual step. Start the first server now. Once we start the first server and log in, now will the first server, after logging in, will it be activated or will it be offline? We just shut it down. We did not disable that scope and shut down. We just shut it down, right? So should it be activated or deactivated? The scope on the first server.
I think they're going to be both active.
Okay.
Because it's manual.
It's a manual process. So if the first one is now active and the second one is now active, this is another configuration that is supported by the split scope. So once we log in, now what do we see? We go to DHCP. On the first server, if I go to DHCP now, Yes, it is activated, and well, you know, we lost that server 2 in the console, right? We don't see that server 2 there. We can still add now the server 2 just like before, or we can go to server 2 itself and see that it is also activated and this is also activated, right? If we go to add server and on server 1, I'm just going and adding the server 2 again. On server 1, I'm adding server 2 again.
Server 2?
Yep, on server 1, I'm adding server 2 again.
Oh, yeah, server 1.
On server 1, yep. Okay, so server 2 is added as IP address. Wow. But when I expand that, let's check it out. Well, they should be both activated, right? Server 2, right click, refresh, server 1, yeah.
You sign up to computer on top for me.
Sign up? What do you mean?
The flash.
Okay.
It's not red for me.
Oh,
There's 2 computers.
oh, okay. So when you go to scope, is it green now for server 2 and server 1? This, my server 2 went on top actually. My server 1 is now on the bottom.
Yes.
Okay.
Green.
Both are green. Okay. So now first we had active passive. Now we have active active. But how does it work with the client? If we have both active here, we have both active, right, Jonathan? We have? Okay, Matthew? We have both active, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when we go to client now, let's go back to the third server and up arrow for release, ipconfig/release and renew. Can anyone tell me what IP address are we expecting when both are active? So I've released it and I'm renewing it. What IP is it? The same IP we're expecting, or are we expecting 51 again? Oh, too late. Same. No, why same? Because that DHCP has not gone anywhere. That DHCP is still there. So its lease will work now.
They do not interfere with each other.
Exactly. They do not interfere, and you got it and the DHCP is still in contact. If it was gone, yeah, lease is still there. If it is gone, then you would release and renew. Oh, now I have the current whichever DHCP is available. I have the IP address of that. But now both are available, so I don't have to release and renew to a new one. It's gonna check again the previous one. MAC address is checked, and
So if the same scenario happens in a company, for example, they have 100 computers and their DHCP server, the DHCP that has 80% of the duties, crash. As an admin, you have to go one by one and active and do these commands.
no, this
renew,
is
release.
yeah.
these
So
things.
this is just for our test. There, you don't have to do anything. If they don't have a DHCP server, the clients are automatically now looking for a DHCP server. So automatically, if they are started, as long as they are started, and they are not in touch with, so they are automatically looking. As soon as the second one becomes active after 500 milliseconds, which is like right away, so they will just get the IP address from the second one. We don't have to release renew. They might, for the network bottleneck, maybe network is busy, so they might get after 2 or 3 seconds, but they will get it. So it's automated from the client side. Suppose the second DHCP, they cannot still get it after it got activated, then you have to restart the switch. If you don't want to do that because there are some other clients who are related to some other DHCP and they're working on the same switch, then you have to tell, hey guys, DHCP is down for now, so can you just restart your machines? So that's the last resort. Restart your machines, but give it time, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, maximum 4 or 5 seconds. They should just detect the IP address from the second one. We just wanted the result right now. So otherwise, yes, it is not practical that if it's 500 machines and DHCP is down, of course we cannot go. So Normally they will get it if they don't have. So Apipa is there, right? Suppose if Apipa is there, Apipa only comes when they have tried the LAN and there is no DHCP server for some time, right? Okay, this was SplitScope, where we saw that we can have one scope split into two servers, for two servers, right? And then we can just check it by crashing and check it by active passive setting and then active setting, right? So now we go for any question for SplitScope. Is it okay, clear, right? So let's go for failover. And what's the difference between the SplitScope and failover anyway? So when we go for failover here, so DHCP failover enables two DHCP servers to provide IP addresses and optional configurations to the same subnets or scopes. It requires failover relationships to have unique names. There will be a failover relationship between the two servers. Supports the hot standby mode and the load sharing mode, just like what we check now. When you use DHCP failover, the MCLT determines when a failover partner assumes control of the subnet or scope. Maximum client lead time is MCLT, and we're going to talk about that MCLT. What is this? The auto state switchover interval determines when a failover partner is considered to be down, so automatically switches over, and we're going to test that too. Is it automated? And it is. So we're going to crash again one innocent server here, and then we're going to just check if it is automatically the third server automatically got an IP address or not, right? Message authentication can validate the failover messages. Firewall rules are auto configured during DHCP installation. When you install DHCP installation, firewall rules, if the firewalls are on, they are automatically configured, right? There are commands, many PowerShell commands for DHCP server as well. Okay, our hero is here. Yay!
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. I'll do it.
You done?
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I take to when I finish class, I take it in the morning.
Okay, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning when I come, then I bring it.
All right, thank
Tomorrow
you.
you have a class?
Tomorrow also we have a class, but nobody's using that.
Okay, then I can.
Yeah,
take
even
it.
today nobody was using.
No, I take when you finish the class, I take it.
Okay.
Tomorrow I put the memory and put it back.
But you forgot today as
Yeah.
well.
Too busy in that.
Yeah. No, don't worry. I'll bring it for you
Okay.
in the morning.
No, I can take it when your class finish.
Oh, or even at the start of the class you can take it
Okay.
if you want. Right?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. DHCP failover lab. So let's just get going with that. Name of the failover relation. So there are some terminologies here. Name, partner server, of course, partner server. Sorry. Yeah, DHCP failover. Very, those terminologies and what we can understand from there. So partner server, name or IP address of the server that shares the failover relationship with the local DHCP server. Mode, the type of DHCP failover mode chosen. Load balance percentage. The percentage of DHCP client leases. Client lease means whatever time you've given to the client, right? 80 days, 8 days, 8 hours, 8 minutes. Okay, hours. Client leases that will be evaluated by the local server. So we're gonna just go for server role is whichever roles is either it's a hot standby or it's on active role. So reserve percentage is the IP addresses, the percentage of IP addresses in a scope that are reserved for the hot standby server. Reserve percentage is just like 80-20 rule we have. So 20% of the IP addresses is actually the reserve percentage, right? The MCLT that we just talked about, the maximum amount of time that one server can extend a lease for a DHCP client beyond the time known by the partner server. So this is MCLT, and this is the maximum amount of time that lease can be given from a standby server, right? So state switchover interval, the interval after which a DHCP server automatically transitions in. So state switchover just means that if one goes down, the other one will just take over right away, right? Okay, so state switch over to state, the current state of the local server. Yeah, scope IDs, a list of DHCP scope IDs that are associated with the failover. Now there are so many of those that we may not be, going for in depth. Automatic state transition, yes, it will automatically switch over. Enable authentication, yes, DHCP should be authenticated. So the maximum amount of time that one server can extend a lease for a DHCP is called, for a DHCP client, beyond the time known by the partner server. So maximum client lead time is that. We're going to come to this because we're going to configure that, and we're going to come to the definition again. But there are longer slides here. So characteristics of failover relationships include the following: a single DHCP. So how many DHCP partners can we have in a failover? So a single DHCP server can have no more than 31 failover relationships. So at that time, there could be 31 DHCP partners. 31, not just 2. A single failover relationship is always shared between exactly 2 DHCP servers, right? So failover partnerships, we're going to be now configuring that, and we're going to know that. But it has to be exactly same configuration between the 2 DHCP servers. Multiple failover relationships can exist between the same 2 DHCP servers, right? They have to be with same configuration, right? Multiple DHCP scopes can use the same failover relationship. So we're going to see that what is failover relationship. We're going to configure that now, and we're going to understand that a single DHCP server can have failover relationship with multiple other DHCP servers. A single DHCP server can have relationship with multiple other, right? Okay. A single DHCP can only be associated to one failover relationship at a time. However, scopes can be removed from one failover relationship and added to a different failover relationship. Now it says that we can have it also as just one at a time, or only 2 can have a failover relationship as well. A failover relationship can exist that is not associated to any DHCP scope. So what is DHCP scope? Guys, let's just create one extra scope just to make sure that it is different from split scope. So until now, what we did, there was one scope, we made it highly available, right? Now let's just create 2 or 3 scopes in one DHCP server, and the second scope is totally different in IP range. The third scope is totally different in IP range. They are connected through router with each other or layer 3 switch. So on server 1, let's go there and try to create another scope, because then we will know that what is the difference between the failover clustering and DHCP split scope. So suppose there's a big company, and in big companies it's always, even in medium-sized companies, there are always more than one scope, like multiple scopes are there, right? We always created our practice lab or private lab just one scope. Let's just create a second scope now. Right click IPv4 and go for new scope, right? So again, on server 1, let's go there, right click IPv4 and new scope. Now when we go there, next, so second scope, right? And next, then we go for 10.0.0.1.
1701.
Yeah. And then we go for 10.0.0.100. This is the second scope we're creating, right? Every 2 there? You're not there. Hey, but you're watching the labs, right? Are you?
Yeah.
See this lag? Okay, so
I'm downloading that.
okay, cool. So yep, we create the new scope, right? So we're pretending that there's a layer 3 switch or routing between the 2 different IP ranges, but normally the companies have a lot of scopes there, right? So next, there's no exclusion range, right? Next, lease duration, nothing. Yes, we want to configure the options here, and we go for gateway 10. Okay, let's not put a gateway here, we don't need that. Right now we're just pretending it's another scope, right? We're not gonna use that scope. Otherwise, there's always a gateway, right? So next, okay, at least the DNS is wrong. We're not supposed to have 200.DNS word or 10 IP range, right? So the domain can be same, it's okay. Next, wins is not being used. Activate the scope. All we did was 10.0.0.1 up to 10.0.0.100, right? That's the only thing. And then we just remove the that primary DNS, nothing else. Next and finish, right? So we have two scopes now, and I configured it in my second server by accident. Anyway, you've configured it, I think, in server 1, right? Because that was on the top. Now next time when I added the second server, it got configured, it went on the top because it's IP address, and now I've configured it like this. So if we just close the folders here, so the second scope is there as well, right? If I refresh that now, oh, it's gonna take a little time.
It's active.
It's active, right? Okay. 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 Got it. Kinda. Serious. Hey, what's going on, server 2? Oh yeah, there are two active scopes here. Okay, so now there are two active scopes here, and let's just configure failover clustering now and check its options here. So for that, let's just go for IPv4 and then go for configure failover. In your case, you're configuring server 1. Wherever you created the second scope, you're configuring that. In my case, because I configured by mistake on second server, it doesn't matter. On any one server, you can configure the scope, and it's gonna work. Actually, you know what? It might be different. So I'm just gonna create quickly the scope on this first server, and it's gonna be real fast. Second scope 192.168.10. I'm just creating quickly on the first server, guys, because I think it's gonna give me a problem. Our configurations will not be the same. Enter, 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 enter. Enter, enter, done. Okay, now let's just configure the failover server now. Refresh. Okay, so now we right click this IPv4 on the server 1 and configure failover like this. Everyone there? Yes. Okay, thank you. So configure failover, everyone there, right? So now this is how it looks like for the failover clustering. Now it supports load balancing as well as active standby, right? So let's just go for these two scopes, which should be highly available. So it's no longer a split scope where one scope is highly available, right? Now here in a big company, it could be 20 or 30 scopes, right? For a big company, right? Maybe different subnets here, 192.168.201.202.02030 up to 254, right? It could be many scopes here. So all those scopes will be highly available, right, in failover clustering. All those scopes will be, if there were 20 or 30 scopes here, they will be all available. So in split scope, we can only make one scope highly available, right? So next, when we go next, yes, it's gonna ask again, who's your partner server? Provide the host name or IP of the server, DHCP with which failover should be configured. You can select from the list of servers with an existing failover configuration, or you can browse and select from the list of authorized DHCP servers. Alternatively, you can type the host name or IP address. Okay, add server. and we go this authorized server, we go for server 2 just like before in the DHCP split scope. Everyone there? Press OK, right? And one day it's gonna accept that, or Monday or Sunday. When it accept, just wake me up. Okay. What? Okay, we got it. Somehow my name resolution is really down. It should be accepting it as by name, but it's not, right? Okay, next. And the following scope already exists on the partner server. These scopes will need to be deleted on the partner server. Oh, 200. Yeah. Hey, everyone got this error?
Yes.
All right. Oh, not right actually. So partner server should not have the same scope. Otherwise, what's the point of failover clustering? So clustering, failover DHCP scopes, right? So cancel out from here. Make sure that the partner server does not have the scope activated, or let's just delete it. So in my case, I'm on the second server, server 2, which was added on the server 1 inside the console. I'm just right clicking that scope or 200 scope and delete, right? Yes. And active clients, yes. Okay, is it deleted, right?
So we have to delete it at the
server 2, right? So well, if you delete from here, if it was added, or you can delete from there and refresh. That's same thing.
If it's activated, then you delete it. What happens?
Then the client will start looking for another DHCP server, and they should find the active one, which is the first one, right? So we've just deleted the second scope, right? Scope on the second server. Matthew, also you were able to do that? Okay, cool. So now I will just go quickly to second server and refresh it. That's all. I just wanted to synchronize, right? It should not have any scope. Yep, it does not. Just confirming. So server 1, I'm coming back there, right? So after coming back, now we're gonna just try that again. So on the server 1, IPv4 for the server 1 itself, IPv4, and configure failover again. And then we go for next.
You have from server 01.
Exactly, IPv4.
Yes.
So right click and failover, configure failover, right? So next. Again, of course, the add server thing, server 2. If it's not showing, just go ahead and just try to, detect that. Oh, seriously, why it's detecting IP address? That's not good. Name resolution is not working between my servers, but since it is still letting me configure that with IP address, that's why I'll keep on going. Otherwise, I will really fix that name resolution thing. Why it's not?
Server 02.
Okay, that's good. So your name resolution is working fine. My name resolution is not, but it's still going to let me configure failover. Right? In production environment, this is a no-no. This is unacceptable. Okay, server 2. Next. Now this is the failover configuration area, right? Failover configuration area, and you can see here it says relationship name. Server 1.net+local dash 192.168.200.2, or in your case it should be written server 2, right? Here it's written, right? In your case it is written server 2. So relationship between the two servers of failover clustering or load balancing, right? So maximum client lead time. That means that if server 1 is down, so second server went into action, it gave the IP address, there's a lease time there, right? We don't know, second server doesn't know when the first server is coming back, right? So how long can it extend that lease time? Oh wait, client, I'm still in action and server 1 will come back. Don't worry client. So you can increase that time to 2 hours for server 2 to keep that lease, or 3 hours or 4 hours. at least, you know, the 1 hour is good enough for you have time to get the first server up and running, and server 2 should be giving that much, you know, this 1 hour at least lease of to the client, right? So if it takes more than 1 hour, just go for 2 hours, just come back here and change that.
You mean when the active one shut down or something happens to it, the server 2 gives it that lease time of 1 hour.
That's good enough to recover the server, right? So, but if it is good enough, otherwise just expand it. Maybe 1 day, 24, just type it 24.
What happens if you pass an hour set up like that?
So just increase that. Increasing, then you're in big trouble, because then the users will start calling, and that's bad. So yeah, if users don't get connectivity, yes, they're gonna be pissed off. So okay, well, I'm just putting it back one. But mode, load balance mode, and if you select that, hot standby or load balance, right? So hot standby, when we put, now the area changes, and addresses reserved for standby server, only 5% of the addresses. This is again enough time you want to buy to configure the first server before the before the IP addresses run out of the standby server, right? So either it's a active mode, active standby, no, not this one, sorry, load balance mode, which is 50-50, and it makes sense, both are giving the IP addresses, or hot standby. Again, we have the same type of configuration here. So now and then state switchover interval. What is that? So if we select that state switchover interval, right, it's 60 minutes. So what was state switchover? We had a definition for that. State switchover interval is this: that the interval after which our DHCP server automatically transitions its failover partner to a partner down state after loss of communication. So you're saying that here, that wait for 60 minutes before the second server comes into action, if you want to do that. But by that time, the clients would have actually effectively kicked you out of the job. Oh, okay. Well, we cannot just make that state switchover to wait for that long. If you uncheck it, it's gonna just fail over like this, right? It's supposed to. But if you want to make sure that, you know, first server can come back, and if it's nighttime and you know that nobody's connected right now, you can just go for, hey, let's just wait for, instead of switching over, let's just wait for that much time. Or we can just put that automatic switch over to like 1 minute here, right? So in 1 minute, just wait for 1 minute and then go for, that's a lot of time. Or we can just go for 0.05 minutes or 0.5 minute, right? We can just go for any kind of configuration, but let's just uncheck that for now. So at once it should fail over now, right? And enable message authentication. If we enable that, the partner server, you can just put a password there. If the partner server wants to about to join this server in the relationship, or if you had the shutdown, if the partner was crashed and it starts again, and you want the partner to join this failover again, the partner should give this IP address, this password here, right? Shared secret is a password that two servers share before they want to join each other. So we can just uncheck that. We do not want, we're going to crash the server, but we do not want the password prompt to be coming before the partner joins that failover clustering configuration, right? So state switchover is already unchecked. We are unchecking any password requirement for the partners to connect again right now, and the rest of the setting is right now hot standby. Just means we're gonna fail one server and it should automatically, unlike the SplitScope, the failover server should automatically fail over, right? It should not wait for us to enable or activate the second scope, right? So next, This is the configuration we did. Next. And that's it. Finish. Should be successful, right? Close. Okay, time for test. There's no refresh. Okay. Refresh and refresh. Okay. So, oh, seriously, my client is down. So now time for let's go check the server 2 if it got any configuration from server 1. So if we go to server 2 just to refresh the settings, do we have some changes here? Yes, the 2 scopes are showing there as well, right? Are they? Okay, that's good enough. We can go to the client now and tell it to, so on client, let's just test it now, right? So we have 2 servers here, and what's the IP address your client is getting now?
It's assigned by DHCP.
So let's do a release renew again, because we just changed some of the settings, right? I'm just giving it, it just shut it down because it was on expired, so I'm just giving it internet connection quickly and getting that evaluation to 90 days for the Windows 8 client. Seriously. Oh, you don't have to see that in the video. Refresh. Now I'm just gonna change it back to my local network so I could get the local IP address connectivity for my client machine. I think it was VMnet 10 for me. Okay, connected. So I'm just gonna go for my command prompt and go for ipconfig first, and I'm on 51. Okay, let's just crash whichever server. So what is the vote now? Shall we crash the first server or the second server? Oh, the IP? Strange. If I just got ipconfig 51, but if I go for release and renew,
Release is down, but renew nothing.
or you must have connectivity with your DHCP. Have you done release renew, Jonathan?
I did.
And it works.
Do it again.
No, but if you already did and you're communicating, right? It's still 51, right?
It's 51.
Okay, not from the previous configuration. Now, okay, cool. So yes, this means we are connecting to DHCP, but if it's not renewing, your connectivity is gone for some reason. And why would that be? When you restart, I think after crash, maybe your firewall turned on, so maybe the communication is blocked. If we are still getting 51, we are okay, but I'm just gonna double check my firewall as well before crashing this guy again.
No, it's off.
Oh, in my case it's on for the server 1. On server 1 and 2 both.
Yep.
You could just put ipconfig only now on 3rd server and check what is your current IP address.
It's off because.
Oh, that's not good. So did you make any change of some type? Anything? Oh, your scopes, are they showing green? Refresh your scopes. Maybe the DHCP service is not working.
No, they are all green.
On server 1 and 2 both, right? So I'm now on server 1 and just adding the second server again, going for server 2, press OK. Finish.
I restarted.
Sorry?
I restarted.
Okay. Server the 3, right?
Yeah.
And 1 and 2 are perfect, right?
Yes, it seems fine.
And the 2 should be showing now the new scopes only.
So should I
Crash the first one
crash the first one?
and release renew on third one. Yikes, maybe it's also a domain controller. So I'm just gonna, for the video, going to crash that server, and what I'm getting F51 right now. So, well, you know, the failover thing, if it works automatically, is your first server still down or second? Still down, right? Cool. And you tried release renew again and again, like second time as well on the third server? Okay, so I'm just doing the first time now, release. Actually, the first time should, you know, if it works, we're good. So I'm releasing again and renewing again after crashing the first server. And failover should give me at once, or you know, whenever, a correct IP. The least time should be, you know, forwarded to the second server. Yep, now it's 52. Okay. Second server just gave me 52.
I think I'm still getting it.
3. Huh?
Because
Yeah.
exclusions.
Once you got it, you're good. You should be getting the same. Okay, try again. So I'm just gonna release renew again now for the same configuration with the second server and renew. Let's just try 64.
I guess.
Now that means that same client is getting and occupying actually the previous ranges as well, and we can confirm that too. On second server, when you go to a scope, go to address lease here.
Yeah.
How many leases that client has? Or if it's just still one, the previous lease has been removed then. Oh, now at 53, yes, it's changing by every release and renew. Why would that be? Why would that be? Our release was actually for 8 hours or 8 days. The default release lease time.
And the expiration is
An hour written there.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that was for our standby guy, but it's still an hour, right?
Says right there.
Yeah. Lease expiration 8:48, so it's 7:49. Yep, 1 hour. But every time we release renew, now I get 54. Okay, next IP. So not good. But yeah, it's just changing. Oh, you want also? Oh, you also want? It's not seeing that. Hey, go for the MAC address. Don't change my IP.
Is it because of our configuration?
Yeah, because of one guy is down, the second one is just letting you connect right now. Not because this guy is not supposed. This is a 20%, right? 5% of the IP addresses are given to this guy. So this means that the first server better be coming up soon. Otherwise, it's keeping you connected, but it's not permanent.
So what happens to
The lease now given.
or that 63 what happens?
Oh, that's not there. It's taken away.
It's taken away.
New one is
How do we
given.
give it to you?
So we have released our /release means, oh, we don't want that. Or can you confirm if you have my MAC address, keep my IP address. It doesn't have my MAC address. So, oh, I think you're a new client. So, you know, the previous lease has been destroyed. The new lease has been given to me, to the same client. It's not, so it's just making me connect now, but not remembering because it's not permanent. It's 5% of the addresses are only given to this guy. This means keep working on the first one and get it back up and running. It's buying us time. You were saying?
What if it gets to the at the end?
Oh, then expect calls. So it's 5%.
It's not gonna give anymore.
No, because 5% has been given. This means it's just buying you time now. 5% means nothing, right? So this means work on it. So let's just turn on the first one now, which has the 95% of the IP addresses, and put it on active.
Oh yeah, I received IP address, but it's sorry, that's not. No, it's not good.
it's not communicating at all with any DHCP server. It's
By
APIPA.
assigned by the manual activities, then static works. Like when I
Remove that.
remove it automatically.
Okay, let's check it out. Now, okay guys, so what we did was just checked our failover configuration with 5% standby, and the standby server should be 5%, having the 5% IP addresses, and it was also not retaining its lease time. So if we go for failover configuration, so we have here right now, if I just put it on magnifier, so we have the two scopes here which are failed over, they are available in the failover configuration here. When we right click our scope, which is giving us IP address, is not the 10 scope, but the scope that is 192.168. So there are then configurations. There's deconfigure failover as well. Replicate the scope to the other failover. Maybe you made a change and you want to replicate, but then there is that properties, and in the properties you have the failover tab here as well, right? And it says addresses reserved for standby 5%, and for standby, and then there is that relationship name here, then the partner server and maximum client, the whole setting that we did there, right? So this is just available if we go to the 10 server, 10 IP address, 10 scope, and go for the failover configuration. Also, it is showing that rollover server is active now. Whichever server is active, it is showing there. So we cancel out from here as well, right? Now if we go to our 192 scope and deconfigure or replicate or reconcile, replicate scope just replicates the whole thing. I just wanted to check if we are able to make any changes, otherwise we will have to just unconfigure the scope. We have to deconfigure the failover and then reconfigure it again with the active setting, right? So if we just go for any kind of failover settings anywhere, it's not letting us do some configuration changes for maybe. So right now it's active standby, we want to change it to active, right? So there are no other changes that we can see. Areas, replication, relationship, and then we can go for replicate scope, and finally the deconfigure or deactivate. So we have to deconfigure the scope to make it active now instead of active standby, because there are no changes, right? It's not showing any changes there. So active, when we make it, of course we're gonna have the IP addresses available right now. So first of all, when we talk about, so we have started this second server, right? When we start the second server, we are supposed to, let's just log into the second server, and we should be on the 80% side or 95% side of the IP addresses now, instead of the 5% that we gave to the standby, right? So let's just log into the active server after failover. So when we log into the active server and then again go back and check the client address here, release, renew, while the failed server or the crash server is active, I get 54, which I already got before as well. But if I release again, or I'll just make sure that the first server after the crash has come back and properly started. So the first server is now properly started, and I'm just gonna add that second server here again quickly. And one day it's gonna add that server 2, or Monday. Okay, it added that. Well, it is adding. Zoinks. Oh well. Well, okay. Now we can see it's there. But do you have an IP address change after you introduce the failed server back to the one? Jonathan, you have any?
I got the same.
Does
from
is it changing now,
no,
like before?
It's the same one.
Now it's keeping the lease. This means, right? So I'm just gonna release that again and go for renew just one more time. 5% was not keeping the lease, but now it doesn't change from 54, right? So whatever lease time we got the first server with the 80%, it's not properly working and remembering our lease, and it's going to not change it from 51 to 52 to next available IP like the 5% was doing. 5% was just taking it, keeping it connected, keeping us connected, and buying us time. 5% means that it cannot be operational for a long time at all. 5% means just work and just try to get that up, the first server, right? So while the first server we are logged into, right? So we can just go try to check, double click that first, scope which we created as a failover option, and then I just wanted to check the failover setting here. Yep, it's the same thing. We have to deconfigure it and then create a active relationship as well, right? Instead of active standby, there is no other configuration that lets us create or just change it from active passive to active, right? So okay, well, not much there. I mean, other than how we configure it and then check after crashing the server. And so guys, one more thing. If second server has been, which server here is active and which is passive? Do we know that? So if we go for our first, double click the scope here, right click and properties, the scope, any one of the scope, right? So failover says role of this server active and mode is hot standby. Partner server 1 and mode is hot standby, right? This is if I'm doing in the server 200.2, which is our second server. If I go there, it says active and 5%. But if I go to server 1, double click that, go to properties, does it say anything different? It still says that partner server 202 is mode hot standby. State switchover interval is disabled. So well, this was disabled by us, but the thing is that if I want to just quickly crash the second one, so I'm just gonna do a crash of the second one which was on standby, right? So once it is gone, it's gone now. So I'm just gonna go to the client and do the release renew again, just to check if something changed here. But that should have the 80% of chunk. Yep, 54 is still there. So standby goes away and we have no change here, right? Release and oh, okay, now it's thinking. Did you crash the standby?
Yeah.
Let's, Jonathan, you crashed the standby?
Yeah, I'm just releasing
Oh, now I got a different one. So I'll just keep doing one more time, release and renew. You got 100. Okay. After crashing the standby. Okay. I got also 89 on the upper range. So the standby 54 is gone.
I got the same thing. 65.
65, not the same thing, right?
No, it's same thing.
54. Oh yeah, 65. No, then do it again. Is standby is crashed, right?
Yeah, I did it, and then I'll do it again.
Now it's 90 and 100, that range. Oh, release and renew. So you got 100. If you release renew again, let's see what it takes. Yeah, I also got 90. So it is giving a range, and it's taking a longer time. Standby is gone, and it's looking for a new DHCP server. Did it really fail over? So if I just go to server 1 and refresh the whole thing, well, I'm getting an IP, so this means the failover is working.
It's 51.
The standby is shut down, right? Standby restarted or shut down? The second server.
The second server is on.
On? Oh, that's why you get 51. Because I just permanently shut it down. Yeah, permanently shut it down. You also got second server?
Second server is shut down, and I'm getting a
90. If you try again, it's not giving me anymore, so it's not communicating with the first server. So this means the failover is not working when we shut down the second one, or we should have let it up for some more time then, but it's not going for any DHCP server now. For you it's going right? Did you release renew again?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's searching, right?
It's searching.
It's searching for you too as well?
It's session.
Just searching, right? So DHCP is not available.
No, I got 52.
Oh, you got 52 now. Before it was 51, right?
51.
So it is communicating with the second server now, DHCP. It's just taking time. So this is that downtime, kind of downtime that we are experiencing here, that if the client is not getting an IP address. So if you go to statistics here, like this, right click server 1 and go for no, IPv4 and go for display statistics. Right click IPv4 and go to display statistics. Then we get that how many offers were there, how many acknowledgements were received, and start time is this, uptime is this, 0 hours and 27 minutes, discovers 18. Wow. But the second server is down and the first server is now giving IP addresses on the higher end. So again, when I go there, wow, it did not renew, but I'm gonna release and renew again. It better communicate with my current DHCP server now, because I'm getting a PIPA now, so it's a downtime.
That's taking a long time to renew.
Oh, this means it's not searching for now. I mean, like, it's not getting any response from that server. You're getting a response from your server, right? Still release renew. So when we go for crashing again, it's now giving, it's not communicating, so this is a downtime. Yep.
The 90 was my last IP address.
Okay.
Because there's an exclusion of 9100.
Exclusion from the split scope, right? Right now it should be a full scope.
Would it still show on like in your company scope, would it still show the exclusion and address?
Yeah.
Still, okay, yeah, so
So that exclusion from split scope is still there.
it's still there.
That's why giving the high end, and we should remove that. That's a good point. I mean, we don't need that. Failover should be a separate lab, but the exclusion we never removed. Now it's a full scope.
Yeah,
So-
we can't really do it.
Okay, that's a good point. But it's not communicating. So yes, something this should be tested in our before introducing to production. We should test that it's not automatically now going for standby. We have to have both servers available first. So I'm just starting the second server now, and the best way to go for active configuration is go for deconfiguring the failover and then go for active, right? I just wanted to see that if standby goes away, then the failover, the standby did have communication with the first server, but actually it lost the communication. The first server is not properly working as a failover server. Once I put the standby server up, now it is okay. So release and okay, renew. Now once the standby is up, it's kind of it's working fine now. So in production, I would want to check that a number of times, and I would want to go for active, but I would really check the standby configuration and test the whole thing before introducing it in production environment. And especially in my case, the name resolution is not working, so it's just detecting as an IP address, which is not good. And if I just check it now, because okay, it's up and running now, the second one, and I should be getting an IP address. Yeah, 51 is there. So standby, when it goes down, you need to get it up and running. After crashing the first one, I would just give it time and reconfigure it even, just to have the DHCP services up and running. In a production, in private environment, there could be other limitations as well, but in production, I would really test the whole thing if it is really smooth. Just like failover clustering, we switched over several times, it worked perfectly, right? Several times. But here, how does it work? Name resolution is working fine or not? First of all, it should not be getting an IP, the server 2 as an IP address. So I would really want to do my homework before introducing it in the production environment, right? Okay guys, any questions about this? We could make it as an active as well, but we know that this is going to be only happening if we deconfigure that cluster. So for those scopes, replicate scope and or delete the scope. So let's just quickly remove that configuration of failover clustering, so we could do our next lab till 9:30. I'm just kidding. Oh, not kidding. Come on, let's do work. So how do we remove this failover clustering now? So when you right click the 200.0, or if you go for IPv4, in IPv4 it just shows configure failover, but if you go to the scope level, it shows you deconfigure failover, right? So let's just go to right click on server 1, the scope 192.168, and then go for right click it and deconfigure like this, right? This action will remove the selected scopes from the associated failover relationships. The selected scopes will also be deleted from the partner server, which is okay. So press OK when I deconfigure failover. Progress of removing scope from failover relationship. The log below shows the progress, and they're all successful. So all I did was right click and deconfigure. Now it comes back to configure failover, right? So the second scope which I created, 10.0.0, it still is on separate failover clustering, right? So I'll have to manually deconfigure the 10 range as well. Right click the 10 range and deconfigure failover as well. Press OK. The action will remove all whatever, and done. So if we had 10 or 15 scopes and we had configured failover once, when we have to deconfigure, we can just go one by one for each scope, right? So now the second server should not be, if we refresh that, the scopes are there, but there should not be any failover clustering feature available there. So now we have removed the failover clustering from the other. This means that the other scope should not even show the 10 and 192 scope now. So after removing it, let's just confirm if the second scope is showing any scope. Second server is showing any scope. Is it showing? Second server should not be showing any scope after you have successfully deconfigured the failover clustering, right? It's not showing, right? It's off? Like red cross? It's showing a red? Oh, server's off. So let's start that server and then deconfigure, and then make sure that both scopes are only showing on one server like this, and not on the second server. Jonathan, is the same thing for you?
Yeah, nothing, no configuration.
On the second server. Okay, so you deconfigured both scopes, right? So cool. Okay, so this means now we don't have any failover class configuration or split scope. So now we don't need the 10 range as well, of course. So we can right click the scope of 10 and just delete it, right? So I'm just right clicking the 10 scope and deleting it, and gone. I'm also right clicking and deleting the second server from my console, so I don't need the second server showing in my console. So I right click the server 2 and delete. Right, so only one server in my console and server 1 is showing, right, which is supposed to be. So I remove the server, I remove the scope. Now we should be good, and the second server should be just an empty DHCP server, right? Okay guys, so if there are no questions, let's go for the second topic. Yay! Right? Oh, yay. Okay. And Renfell is still busy. That's good. Are you? You're still doing the task. I thought you sent me that already. Is
I think that was I'm doing the second part.
okay. Okay, but we are still understanding what's going on here as well. Kinda. Okay. Or is it brownout? Okay. That, you know. So let's just go for the next topic, guys. So there is a feature called IPAM, which is IP, address management, IPAM, right?
What's the last available
Uh,
You can find like this.
exactly. Hey, we didn't do that before.
Yes, you mentioned.
IPAM. Oh, we mentioned as a feature, right? That
411 you mentioned about.
IPAM.
Yes, this
Mhm.
feature help us to find the next available item.
Exactly. Did we do that or? Okay.
Just read.
Okay. Read about it. Okay. Okay. So yeah, and then I must have said that okay, it's the 7412 topic, and whenever we reach there, we're gonna do that. So that's the day we reached there. Okay. So right, I'm just gonna shut down that third server. We don't need the third server. Okay, we're good. We don't need the third server. Okay. One thing is this. Second thing is what is IPAM and how do we work on it? So let's just get going with the that feature. How do we add it? What is it? So on server 1, everyone there? Yes. Okay. Local server. So first of all, I'm just gonna quickly open that slide. And one day the slide will open. Okay, there it is. So IP address management. Okay, let's go ahead. What is IPAM? IPAM overview, requirements for IPAM implementation. Let's go ahead. Well, I have 4 servers here showing, but we don't need that much. Okay guys, you know what, although we're not gonna do any configuration on the third server, can we start it again? Okay, so let's just start the third server again, right? If you shut it down as I requested, please do not. So I'm just gonna start that, because for IPAM at least we have something to discover more than, you know, just 2 servers. I'm just starting the third client as well again. If you shut it down, please start it again. So what is IPAM? IPAM facilitates IP management in organizations with complex networks by enabling administration and monitoring of DHCP and DNS. The main thing to understand about IPAM is that DNS and DHCP are both combined together in one dashboard, in one window, right? Also, you can configure domain controllers in this one dashboard, right? So IPAM facilitates IP management in organizations with complex networks by enabling administration and monitoring of DHCP and DNS. Planning so there are 4 areas here. Planning reduces the time and expense of the planning process when changes occur in the network. So IPAM gives you these benefits. Managing provides a single point of management, the single dashboard, right? And assists in optimizing utilization and capacity planning for DHCP and DNS. Again, we have a separate console for DHCP, we have a separate console for DNS. Now IPAM just combines the two together, right? So we can enables tracking and forecasting of IP address utilization. So what is the next available IP? What is the next IP that is available for use right now from our static scheme as well as our dynamic scheme? Especially this is good for our servers environment. Sometimes normally what we are doing is we are maintaining Excel sheets with static IP addresses, right? So there are printers coming every 3 or 4 months. There's a new printer or new server, member server, new Linux server, or new router or switch that needs a available static IP. So then we have to ping. Maybe we have a ping utility, maybe we have a sniffing tool. So we ping across the network, and then we see, oh, we have, oh, that's where 201 is now available. Until 201 or 201 including, we have given it to printers, switches, routers, static IP address. Or if we have a perfect up-to-date Excel sheet, that's going to tell us that how many IP addresses in static are remaining. But it's going to just ping all those IP addresses which are already used, and which are not used, it's going to just tell, okay, from here, the IP addresses are available, and the rest are not. Auditing assists with compliance requirements and provides reporting for forensics and change management. So you can put IP addresses. It's just going to discover for you how many IP addresses are changed, or how many IP addresses are taken, and by what machine. It's okay. Okay, so yeah, that was good actually. So assists with compliance requirements and provides reporting. So let's just go ahead. IPAM architecture consists of 4 main modules. IPAM discovery. We're going to be doing a discovery through IPAM of DHCP and DNS servers. Oh, we have 2 DHCP servers, so that's good. Let's see if IPAM discovers those. IPAM address space management. So after that, how many subnets we have, how many new IP ranges we have, and multi-server management and monitoring. Maybe we have 4 or 5 DNS servers and 2 DHCP servers. It's going to discover all and show in the same window, right? Operational auditing and IP address tracking, that's very important, so we're going to check that. A server component and a client component. You can deploy IPAM in the following topologies: distributed, centralized, hybrid. But we're going to discover what is that. Provisioned, either manually or through GPO. Okay, prerequisites are IPAM server must belong to the domain. It has to be a domain. IPAM server cannot be a domain controller. Okay, that kicks out our domain controller from our lab. This means we have to have a member server. Oh, do we have a member server, guys? Your second server you said is replica, right?
No.
Okay.
All of them are moving.
All of them, not all, right?
of them is moving.
Okay, that's cool. The first one is, yeah, 1. We got 1, right? Okay, that's cool. So it cannot be installed on a domain controller. So IPAM. IPv6 must be enabled in order to manage IPv6. Yes, but we unchecked it. So log on with a domain account. You must be in the correct IPAM local security group. Logging account logon events must be enabled for IP address tracking and auditing. CPU, yeah, it's just minimum 4 GB RAM, 80 GB disk for IPAM to work. In this demonstration, okay, so to create a customer address space, run the following command. So now address spaces and all the concepts, but let's just get the IPAM working, right? So let's just add that IPAM feature and then install and configure it, right? So let's just get going with that. I'm just showing all the screens here, and is there anything that we need to do? Managing IP address. Oh, this screen. So I'm just gonna keep it. Oh, gone. Okay. Anyway, So let's install that IPAM now. So it cannot be installed our domain controller. So let's go for our second server. Okay, so everyone on second server, member server? Yes. Okay, so add rules and features on member server, right? And then we go for next. And next, is it a role or is it a feature? Hey, let's get going then. If it's not a feature, then we have a sponsor for coffee. Yes. So if we go to a feature here, is there a IPAM feature here? Okay, we don't have a sponsor for coffee. That's cool. So there's that IPAM feature. Everyone got that? Okay, add features and next. And restart if it wants. Yes, next, install. One day it's gonna install that. Hey. Okay. You're repeating the right? Okay. And there is no air conditioning still. Well, it's only 2 months, you know, till winter, so okay, doesn't matter.
Hopefully, September is not very hot.
Yes, yesterday was also rain, and then we were outside, so in the park, excellent. The wind was good. Yep. Yeah. Come on, man. Really? Huh?
Snow, storm, blizzard, anything. I don't care.
Blizzard? Snow?
Anything.
Seriously?
Yes.
Like you're packed up and.
No. I have self-check.
Okay. Lot of.
Motor-check.
Okay. Lot of fat there. Yeah, I also am like.
Pull out, bro.
No, but you.
I have
Yeah.
very terrible experience with winter time. It's one of the, because I used to
Terrible.
drive
Ooh.
from Vancouver. I can't believe how it's difficult to drive in this. Wow. It's really dangerous. But
Also mountainous? Mountain areas or just road and.
Calgary is flat, but from Calgary to Vancouver, yes, rocky.
Ooh.
Many times you are not allowed to do. You have to use
It's.
chain.
Oh, okay.
And for
Use
yes, it's
train?
mandatory for all cars
Oh, okay.
and trucks, they have to use chain.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay. Resume. Okay, close. So IPAM is installed, guys. Yes. Okay. So now on the left side, do we see IPAM? I hope you haven't installed it on domain controller.
no, it's a
Okay, so now we see that there is a very cool discovery method that we see in sequence here. Connect to IPM server 1, 2, provision the IPM server, 3, configure server discovery, start the server discovery. So that's really cool. And let's go for connected to server 2. So if we click the first one, connect to IPM server, what does it say? Yes, we are connected already. If the required IPAM server is unavailable in the above list, yes, server 2 is a IPAM server. First thing is good, right? Now let's go for the provision the IPAM server. Select the provisioning method to enable IPAM access, right? So when we click provision, now it says IP address management provides a centralized management monitoring. Yeah, we just read that. But what does it do? IPAM provides this functionality by accessing the following Windows servers. It's going to discover DHCP server. It's going to try to discover DNS server. It's going to try to discover NPS server as well, right? And all the domain controllers. So we have one domain controller, one DNS server, one or two DHCP servers we have, right? Let's see if so it's going to discover all these 4 types of servers, right? And it's going to configure automatically GPOs or group policies for us. You can choose these servers to be managed or unmanaged by IPAM. managed servers must be configured with access settings. Okay, so you can either, this wizard also allows you to choose and optionally create an IPAM database. It's going to do that itself. If you choose the GPO based provisioning method, you cannot change to the manual method. Okay, let's just go next. Internal database, WID, right? We're just going to use that. It's not a big network we have, so default option here. Next. Everyone there? Okay, next. Now, managed servers must be configured with settings that allow IPAM to access remote management functions and event. Okay, select a provisioning method. I think we're just gonna, we should be going for group policy based. The manual provisioning method requires that you configure the required network shares, security groups. It's gonna create security groups for us. It's gonna create network shares for us. And if the firewall was on, it would have automatically configured that. All we need to do is just give it a name, what GPO prefix or naming you want to give. It's going to create a couple of GPO group policy objects for us. So we just give it IPAM here. So then it's going to create some group policy objects inside the group policy management console. And all those GPOs will start with this prefix here, right? IPAM security group, IPAM, policy group. It's going to create some group policies there. So what we are putting here, you can create GPOs in each IPAM managed domain. So on domain level, we just have one domain, right? If we had child domain, we could have created separate IPAM groups for that, right? But group policies for that. So this is going to create group policies. We can check them, double check them in the group policy management as well if it is created after we have successfully installed the IPAM or gone through the wizard of IPAM, right? So everyone did that, IPAM, right? Okay, next. This wizard will make the following changes. Now provision the IPAM server or activate the IPAM server to use the GPO based provisioning method. IPAM will use group policy to configure required access settings. Okay, these settings will be applied on managed servers. What are managed servers? Once IPAM discovers successfully DNS, our DNS server or whatever amount of DNS servers we have, once it discovers them, it has to successfully add them, and they should be showing as managed servers. And you're gonna know that it's going to be a kind of a manual hit and trial method to get them to be a managed server. What is a managed server? A managed server that has been successfully discovered and is being successfully managed by an IPAM dashboard is called a managed server, right? So it's going to try to discover these servers here, either DHCP, having a DHCP role or DNS role or domain controller or NPS role, right? So then it's going to create IPAM provisioning GPOs in each IPAM managed domain. So it's going to create some group policies. Okay, it's going to create a small database. It's going to create some scheduled tasks to collect data, the monitoring event, and it's going to create some security groups for IPAM. Okay, most of it is automated, right? So if you choose the GPO based provisioning, you cannot change to the manual. Okay, we don't want to. Just click apply, and let's see. Activating or provisioning. So IPAM manages DNS and DHCP. Second thing, it's going to now discover both of these. Third thing, group policies are created automatically, and thank God we did not choose to do manual, otherwise it's a very long process, or a long process if not very. Okay, so the following settings were successful. The group policy based provisioning method is used to configure required access. Yeah, so these GPOs must be there in the group policy management console, and everything else should be created as well. So next steps, create GPOs in each IPAM managed domain using invoke IPAM blah 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 Windows PowerShell commandlet. Domain administrator privileges will be required to create. Seriously, hey, haven't you created those GPOs already? So okay guys, let's just keep the screen there and go for domain controller and go for tools on domain controller and group policy management, right? Like these. Group policy management is there, right? So expand, forest expand, domains expand, net plus domain expand. When we go to group policy objects here, nothing got created. Okay, while we were reading, it's gonna create the whole group policy. Now it says, hey, create yourself. What were you expecting me to do? All the thing? Refresh. Okay, nothing got created yet, and it says there the next steps are. Okay, so let's get back to member server. Just wanted to confirm that if it created. So these settings will be applied on managed servers using the following GPOs. Oh, IPAM security group. Next steps. Okay, so close. Okay, we see that a lot of options have appeared in our IPAM now, and the provision server or activating the IPAM server is done. Let's go for configure server discovery, which is the third step, right? So let's go for configure server discovery. Now when we click that, select domains to discover the root domain is, it detects that it's the root domain, which is correct, and domain is this, domain controller, DHCP server, DNS server. It hasn't discovered anything till now, right? For group policy based provisioning, create the GPOs for each domain in the list using the Windows PowerShell command that invoke IPAM GPO provisioning on IPAM server, right? Details of server discovery schedule. Next schedule is this. So invoke IPAM GPO provisioning. So this command, let's just put it in the commandlet now, and then we're going to so it is invoke dash IPAM GPO provisioning, right? So on this member server, open the commandlet or PowerShell, right click, run as administrator, right? So we are opening the PowerShell as an administrator, right, on the member server, and we're running a commandlet called, so I'm just gonna put that PowerShell like this, so I can see that clearly, the invoke dash command. So invoke dash IPAM. If I press tab, does it auto complete that? Yep, it does. Invoke dash IPAM GPO provisioning, right? Everyone is able to do that? Alright, I hope you have opened it with the administrator privileges. Invoke dash IPAM, then press tab. It's gonna auto complete that. And I pressed enter here. It's asking for domain parameters, right? What is our domain name? After pressing enter to that, so net plus domain dot local, and GPO prefix was IPAM. Okay, I'm just trying to complete that, but I hope you're following. It's not that difficult. Enter. Now it says you want to carry on with that or not. So what it asked me was just the domain name, so we put the domain name, right? Then just the GPO prefix name, which during the installation we gave like this, IPAM, right? It did not come after pressing enter.
After pressing enter,
This came, right?
it can confirm.
The whole confirmation came. So go for this. Yes, guys. So you're seeing that, right? So press Y. Wow, Jonathan is really reaching his sleep limits. That's it. I'm going home now. Your eyes are like red. Oh, contacts on? They are red contacts, or no, they're on red color, right? Okay, so this means you're sleep. You're tired, and don't worry. We're just gonna take till 10:30. Don't. Oh, just kidding. Okay, so okay, guys. So when you press yes, is it complete like this? Right? It's complete, right? So once it is complete, can we confirm now? So keep the screen like this. We can go back to server 1. The GPO, the group policy management should be open on server 1 as we were confirming. If we refresh now you see all the IPAM related group policies created on. So you press Y, right?
Yes, I did. You are server 01, yeah?
Then we went to server 1. Was the group policy management open, or did you close it? So if it is open, just refresh it, right?
Yeah.
So now it has. Okay, so next steps. Minimize this, or we actually don't need that. So once this is run, press well, we haven't done the discovery, right? So click add here like this. So now we told it what to discover. Discover domain controller, discover DHCP server, discover DNS server, right? We just needed to click which domains these services, hosting servers we need to connect to or discover. So once, is it done by everyone, right?
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead, press OK. Now the fourth step is, sorry, yeah, yeah. So here, did you click add? Yeah, just one ad, that's all, right? So you may decide, you may tell the IPAM, hey, you uncheck, I don't want you to discover this or discover that, right? But we want to discover all. So press OK here, right? Now the fourth step is start server discovery. Click that. Okay, it's doing a task. It's trying to, yeah, if this bar is moving, yeah, blue bar. So we can click more here. Next data collection is on, this is more. If we click more, then it should say complete like this, if it completed. The discovered servers are based on this time and date, and next schedule will be that. But okay, the servers are discovered, it says when I clicked more, right? Cancel this more button here, right? So now if the discovery is done, I can just try to click the start discovery again, and if I click more again, it already says it's done, so no need to discover anymore, right? So I was just double checking that, right? So we don't need to go for discovery again and again, right? So now let's go for fifth point here.
It's running.
Yep, it's good. Sorry,
It's running.
it's still running. Oh, okay, it's not complete yet. Oh, it's not showing complete, Jonathan. Also complete. Okay, so select or add fifth. You know, if all the other configurations were like this, 1 2 3 4, wow, the life would be so easy, right, for us. But it's not like that for any other configuration. So now we're going for the fifth one. Select or add servers to manage and verify IPAM access. So click that. Set manageability status unspecified, right click. So we can add the servers, or we can check if it is added. So do you see this? And go for edit server. Okay, cancel again. So I went to fifth here, then I went to this. Now right click this and edit server, right? Everyone there, right? When you go there, now we can see that we can click the DHCP here, right? And we don't have NPS server here, right? So, and custom configurations, also click that. So it's custom configuration is still adds, okay, it's site level. Let's not go for custom configuration, let's just go for basic configuration, which was this, right? So here it says unspecified. So if we click DNS server, if DNS is clicked and DNS is clicked and now DHCP is clicked, let's go and try to just select as managed here, right? So click as managed, and then we can just press OK. Instead of unspecified, I just click manage. When I press OK, okay, it says that right now it is blocked, or it's not able to communicate with those servers. So if I go to the right side and scroll bar, so DNS DHCP changed, server status changed, it should be green actually, right? So some retrieve all. So if I right click again, retrieve all server data, I right click again, it's trying to retrieve the data if it is it can have communication, if there's no firewall open. So if I'm just gonna go quickly to server 1 and try to turn off the firewall, or double check the firewall. Yeah, it's off on server 1. I'm just gonna check the firewall on server 2 as well. Oh, it is on. Okay, So on server 2, I need to turn off the firewall. Press OK. Is the firewall off for everyone? Right? Okay. Refresh. Oh, that's yeah, server 2 IPAM. Again, we're going there and going for the 5th point again, and it says unblock IPAM. Refresh access status. Can we access our DHCP and DNS? It's still trying to access again. I've turned off the firewall. Retrieve all server data. Hey, why is it saying blocked? So, well, it should be green here, guys. Edit, and if we go for just the DNS server here and press O and keep it managed, manageable status, we're just giving it forcefully managed. Press OK. Unchecking the server role on the server would remove the server role from being managed. Would you like to continue? Okay, I want the DHCP there, so unmanaged and managed. So I'm just trying to force it. Hey, put it to managed. Oh, here to go. So what I did was I just tried forcefully, instead of giving it time for 1 day or 2 days just to keep its communication perfect. Instead of that, I put manage there myself, and then right click and retrieve data. But the main thing I did was turned off the firewall. There was firewall on for it was turned on the member server, right?
Oh, he's unlocked.
It is unblocked, but is it green? Is it green? So what I did was just retrieve all server data and right click or refresh server's access. You did that, right? Or you can just go back to the right click and edit server inside this, like this, and uncheck, press OK. This is to refresh, and then click no, don't press yes, and then keep it checked and press OK. So it refreshes the whole thing again. The main thing is it takes time to either communicate. Right now it's unable to communicate, right? So but it is able to communicate, and the server name is server 1. So we are able to communicate from server 2 to server 1, which has domain controller and DNS roles. It's about trying to do check again and again, and refreshing, checking the firewalls. So guys, so it might take time, but let's just try to cover some more topic. If we go to overview again, the 6th point is retrieve data from managed servers, right? So if we have unblocked access, then it can retrieve data from managed servers as well, the 6th point, right? But if I go for the 5th point, it should be showing green here. 5th point, it's not. Firewalls are off, right? Yep.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Okay,
No,
uncheck and just try to refresh the whole thing.
What did you do with the server one?
Yeah,
You
so
didn't- you just turned off the firewall, right?
yeah, on server 2 I turned off the firewall. So it's all basic communication again, but we can do IP config flush DNS, restore DNS on both servers just to refresh the communication. But this means that it has access, which is again something should not be blocking it, anything. But suppose you have that, right? Because we're now running out of time. So suppose you have done that, then there are other options here that we can try to see. Server inventory, this is where it says that yes, I'm able to configure or connect to server 1. Then IP address space. Now we can have address blocks, inventory, and range groups. We just need to check what is that. IP address blocks, right now we have this IP range from 200. Oh, okay. So so current view. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Okay.
It's pretty fiber.
Oh, so he's saying, hey, it's already finished. Why haven't you closed the lab? Right?
No.
Oh, okay, it's not that.
5 minutes finished.
Okay, 5 minutes it's gonna be finished. You're saying them, right?
Yeah.
Whoever. So that's good. Oh, sir, we're gonna finish that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So okay, so here IP address blocks. When we're saying there's IP address ranges option there, IP addresses. How many IP addresses are there? If it discovers that, or in time, and IP address blocks again. Right now it is it has an IP address subnets, right? So it's just giving, if it was a huge network, it would have given us some more information than this, but it's not overlapping. It's giving start IP address is this, and it's managed by DHCP. If we keep going right, so if it was a big environment, it would have given us much more detail than this. Also, if there's virtualized IP address range, virtualized IP addresses, again, is there any virtual server that is having IP addresses here? But still we have not much information here. Monitor and manage. So monitor and manage, IPAM enables automated and periodic service monitoring of DHCP and DNS servers across the forest, right? So IPAM also enables a unique hierarchical DNS zone status monitoring. So let's just try to see what is information there for DNS and DHCP servers. It says it's running, both are running, and both are being hosted on first server, right? Then DHCP scopes. Are there any scopes there? Yes, there are scopes here. And if we right click that, now you can see all the properties of DHCP editing, duplicate DHCP scope, create DHCP reservation, right? Which was just in DHCP console. But from this IPAM console, when we right click, we can do all the DHCP related tasks here, right? DHCP failover, policy, DHCP scope. So all can be done from DHCP. So DNS zone in the same area. Now we have DNS zones as well, right? So we can right click and reset zones, and we can just right click here as well. But the thing is that DNS and DHCP properties can be handled from within the IPAM server, right? So server groups here as well. If we can group together the servers, maybe there are DNS servers just for New York and DHCP servers just for Hamilton, if there are any branches like that, right? And then there are DNS zones showing here, event catalog here. But let's just go for some action here. IP address space, IP address blocks. Okay, so if we go for IP address block, okay, there. So if we go for IP address blocks here, just for the video, I'm just going for all the options here. Import and update IP addresses, find and allocate available IP address, right? So if we right click that on the inventory in the IP blocks and right click it, now find and allocate available IP address is what? If we click that, so find available IP address, right? In progress. 52 is already given, given by DHCP. But ping reply status, it's trying to go for the range, and then for the DNS status record here as well. So it's trying to discover now all the any available next IP address across the network, right? Ping reply status, no reply from any other IP address other than this. Available IP address is 52. This means 51 is given, and 52 is next available, right? But okay, find next, DNS record status not found. We can still click find next if some other machine has just started and taken over the 52 IP address. Then it will just go for 53. This is available also, and it's going to still progress for ping reply status. There is no machine with the ping, so this 52 is not replying, right? And there is no DNS record, so this means this is available. 53 is also available, and there is no ping replies. This means it is available, right? Then we can find next, and it's going to go for each IP address and give us the reply status for that particular IP address. If there is no reply, this means it is available, right? And then the basic configuration of all the DHCP related managed by service, IP address 53 for that particular IP address which is not given to any machine, which is available. You can put see the MAC address there, all the related information for that one IP address that is available right now. DHCP reservation, you can reserve that IP. DNS record for that IP. It goes deep down into what you can do with the next available IP address, right? So this is, you know, just like some advanced utility. It's still not a very big application when it comes down to our environment, but we can do all the DHCP related tasks and DNS related tasks if we have done proper discovering of the servers, and if we have run that PowerShell command there, then the more scopes would be discovered here, and we can just discover all the other reclaim IP address. Also, we haven't checked that, but reclaim is just that if you know that the physical machine is gone, you can just reclaim that IP instead of waiting for the lease for that IP to be finished, right? So there are some custom new features there, but that's how IPAM is. It's not a big topic. It's just that we have to do more discovery and try. The main thing is, if we have communicated with the main DNS DHCP server, after that the services are the same as if we had created a separate DNS server and done those tasks, and if we had a separate DHCP server console. But there are some combined separate new features as well that needs to be discovered in IPAM. The thing is that DNS and DHCP can be handled better and easily with IPAM installed and configured properly and communicating properly, right? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, we go home now. Yay!
Do we continue IPAM?
Yes, sir. So keep these machines intact, and we're gonna continue. Well, we're gonna try to go for some more, you know, configurations here in next class. Okay.